We are so glad to have you join us as we continue our exploration of Nazareth and of Jesus' younger years. Please join us now as we travel back to hear how Jesus chose to spend meaningful time in his Father's house.
Well, hello again. You're becoming quite regular visitors to Mary's house now, aren't you? You don't want to stay too long today because Mary's busy preparing for the Passover and can't be disturbed.
Well, hello. I thought I heard voices out here. I'm so glad you're back. I could really use your help today. Come on in, come on in. I got so much to do. Come on in. All right. Now, what we need to do is we need to clean this house. We need to get rid of all leavening. That means yeast. There can't even be a speck on the floor, okay? All right, here we go. Let's get to cleaning. All right.
I can't believe you're putting your guests to work. Now, at my house...
Eunice, these people aren't just guests. Well, they're more like family because they know and love Jesus just like I do.
Why do you let her go on like this? I mean, the way she talks, she thinks her son is God's gift to the world.
Eunice, you must believe her.
Well, you know, Eunice is right about one thing. I do need to get this house ready for Passover. And Eunice, you are invited to stay and help if you want.
I have my own home to clean, and I don't have an army of assistants like you do.
Well, I want to thank you for your help. You know, Passover's a really big deal around here. What do you guys do for Passover?
What is Passover? Is it like a holiday?
Sit down, I'll tell you about it. Passover, yeah, is about our most holy day. You see, a long time ago, my people, the Israelites, were slaves in Egypt. And God did some amazing things to set my people free. And one of them was that the angel of death passed through the land. And God told us to put lamb's blood on the doorpost. And if the angel came past and saw the lamb's blood, it would pass by. And that saved our children. So even though the first Passover was a long, long time ago, we still celebrate Passover today. Oh, and one of the foods that we celebrate with is this. It's called flatbread. You see, when the children of Israel were finally free to get out of Egypt, they had to get out in a hurry. So they didn't have time to put yeast in the bread, which would have made it raise and get nice and soft and fluffy. So it turned out something like this. Would you like to try some? Yeah, okay, great. Take a taste once. See once what you think. There you go. Tell me, what do you think? It's not bad, is it? Yeah. We still have unleavened bread today. What are some things that you celebrate with a feast?
We have a really big Thanksgiving feast.
And our Christmas meal is extra special.
I don't think I've ever heard of those celebrations. But you know, one of the things that would make our Passover special is if we could go to the temple in Jerusalem. Joseph and I used to go often, but now that Jesus isn't here, it's gotten harder and harder. But when Jesus was a boy, we would travel that 65 miles to Jerusalem every year. It was so much fun to go to Jerusalem for the Passover. All our family and friends would go. It would take us about 5 days. Some of us would walk, some of us would ride on donkeys. Oh, yeah. And some would ride in carts. And then when we got there, we'd have this huge feast together. And then we would go into the temple, God's house, and we would pray and we would offer sacrifices to God. What are some things that you do in God's house?
I like it when we sing Christian music.
We read from our Bibles and pray together as a community.
Those sound pretty similar to the things that we do, but you know, in a Jewish temple, the men would sit on one side and the women would sit on the other. And we'd have to wear a cloth or a shawl on our head. That was to show respect to God. And then the rabbi or the teacher would get up in front and he would read from the books of the law. And afterwards, we could ask questions, try to understand it better. It's such an honor to be able to read God's word and to think about it and talk about it, isn't it? Oh, I found this strange book. Someone, I think one of your friends left it. We don't have any books like this in Nazareth, but, I was looking through it and reading some of the words, and some of them are the same as in our books of the law.
Well, Mary, the first 5 books of our Bible are your Jewish Pentateuch. Pentateuch means 5/5 of the law.
Really? Well, I don't understand how that can be, but can I tell you about a really special Passover for me? It was when Jesus was about 12. Yeah, he must have been about your age. Can you stand up? You see, when a young boy was 12 in Nazareth, he was considered a young man. He would soon be getting married and getting a job and a home. Yeah. Jesus had been working with Joseph as a carpenter, and he was doing many of the things that men did. Oh, he would still sometimes spend time with me and the children. Well, on one particularly wonderful Passover, we were on our way back to Nazareth, and all our family and friends were with us. Joseph thought that Jesus was with me, and I thought he was with Joseph. It wasn't until the caravan stopped that we figured out Jesus wasn't there, and we got worried. Have you ever been lost?
I got lost in a store once and then I started crying.
My daughter got lost at a fair, and I never was so scared in my life.
Well, now you know how I felt. You see, Nazareth was a little town, so Jesus was fine there, but Jerusalem is a big city. I mean, where would he sleep? What would he eat? God had given me his one and only son, and I lost him. Well, Joseph and I hurried back to Jerusalem. Do you know we searched that city for 3 whole days before we found him? And you know where we found him? We found him in the temple. He was talking with teachers of the law and asking them questions.
From Luke 2. Son, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been looking for you with great anxiety. And he said to them, why were you looking for me? Did you not know I must be in my Father's house?
You know, Joseph and I just didn't understand at the time. Why do you think Jesus wanted to be in the temple?
At this time, we're going to offer you the opportunity to answer that question as well. Why do you think Jesus wanted to spend more time in the temple? You may also want to share why you like to go to church. We're going to encourage you to speak with your tribe or even with those just seated right around you. And when you hear the ringing of the bell, we'll call the play back to order. Why do you think Jesus wanted to stay in the temple?
he wanted to feel closer to God. I know I do want to go to church.
Yes, and it sounds like he yearned to tell people about his Heavenly Father and talk about him, just as we do at church.
I think you're right. Jesus knew that God was his real father. It wasn't Jesus that was lost, it was Joseph and I. You know, I thought about all of the things that Jesus had done, and I kept them as memories of me. And then we took Jesus back to Nazareth, where he grew up, just like you and you and you. Now, I don't know about you, but I have more baking and cleaning to do, so I'm going to let you go, but I promise that tomorrow, if you come back, I won't make you clean, okay? All right, good. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your help. I really appreciated it. Bye. See you tomorrow. Thanks for coming.
As we head into our fourth and final visit to Mary's house, we will begin to see how Jesus continually modeled being a humble servant. As Christians, we are asked to follow in his footsteps and find ways every day to serve God's people around us, even if we can't quite perform miracles like Jesus did.
Well, hello. I'm glad you caught me. I was on my way to the neighbor's house. Her daughter's getting married, and they're having a huge feast. They've invited all of their family and friends, which I think is most of Nazareth, so I thought she could use some extra fruit. But you know what? I can take this later if you're free to come in now. Yeah? Good, come on in. I can take this over later. Come on in. Sit down, relax, get out of the sun, and let's talk for a while. Come on in. Get comfortable. I don't know what weddings are like where you live, but around here, weddings are a really big deal. What are some things that you do at weddings?
The bride and groom wear fancy clothes and have a huge cake.
I like decorating their car with messy things like whipped cream and cans.
Well, really, we do some of those things. Around here, usually our weddings start with a procession or like a parade. The groom's friends go to the bride's house, and then they carry the bride on a chair from the bride's house to the groom's house. And then along the way there are all people lining the streets, and they have fancy clothes on, and they're playing music, and they're singing, and they're dancing. And then when they get to the groom's house, they have this huge feast. Do you know that our weddings can last for up to a year around here? That's a week. That's a lot of food, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, can I tell you one more story about Jesus?
Mary!
Hi, Eunice.
Ah, Mary, I thought I saw you gathering fruit. Could I borrow some? I gave so much of my fruit to the poor. I don't have any left for myself.
I'd be happy to share some fruit. But I was just telling my friends about the time when Jesus...
Oh, here we go again.
Oh, but you're going to want to hear this one, Eunice. Sit down and relax. This happened about 2 years ago, yeah. Jesus had just left Nazareth, and Jesus and I were invited to a wedding in Cana. And while Jesus and his friends and I were busy enjoying the celebration, something kind of embarrassing happened.
Embarrassing? Go on.
The host ran out of wine. Yeah, you see, around here, a host is expected to have plenty of food and drink for his guests. Well, it'd be like if I invited you over for a snack, and I gave you some, and I gave you some, and I gave you some. And then I ran out. I know, I feel terrible. That's what happened at the wedding.
Huh. So, you had to drink just plain water at the wedding?
Almost. But I knew that Jesus had special powers. They were God's powers. And I knew that he'd want to serve, but I just didn't know how. So I said to the servants, do what he tells you to do.
I'm sure you did.
From John 2. Now there were 6 stone water jars there for Jewish ceremonial washings, each holding 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus told them, fill the jars with water. So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, draw some out now and take it to the head waiter.
Eunice, come help me. I'm going to pour something to drink in these glasses that we're passing out. Take a sip and tell me what you think. So, what do you think? Yeah, it's just water. Water's pretty good, but it's nothing special, is it? Not special enough for a wedding.
So, Jesus provided water at the wedding? What's so great about that?
Oh, what's great is what happened next.
So they took it. And when the head waiter tasted the water that had become wine, without knowing where it came from, the head waiter called to the bridegroom and said to him, everyone serves the good wine first. Then, when people have drunk freely, an inferior one, but you have kept the food wine until now.
All right, hold up your glasses, and I am going to pour something else into your glasses. Take a drink of this. This is kind of like the drink that Jesus provided at the wedding. So, what do you think? Much better. It tastes pretty good, doesn't it? Yeah. I was so excited that Jesus could do miracles for God's people.
You know, Mary, you talked about how the angels said that Jesus was God's son, and how Simeon and Anna said that Jesus would save us, and the rabbis in Jerusalem, they knew Jesus was special. And now you're telling me he can do miracles? I'm beginning to think that maybe there is something to all of this.
Really, Eunice? That's wonderful.
Yeah, but I really do have to go. But if you see me in the marketplace, maybe you could tell me why you love Jesus so much. Could you do that?
Good.
You've really given me something to think about.
Isn't it exciting? Maybe, just maybe, Eunice is starting to believe that Jesus is God's son. But you know, I think I need to talk to her some more. Before you leave, would you guys pray with me? I want to say and do just the right